Hey, good morning, or whatever time it is by you. Good day, good evening. Oh my goodness, how are you? We are in our last day of this challenge. What a crazy week. I have had so many people tell me how much money has come into their world, like in the last 5 days since we started doing this. And what's really interesting and cool, and maybe you've acknowledged this in your world, is a lot of people have said the money showed up here, the money showed up here, the money showed up here. And a lot of it didn't come from the thing that they thought was going to create the money. The major difference was the choice to create the money. Whew, I know, 2 seconds in. I'm just hitting the ground running today. Man, how does it get any better than this? Oh my goodness, I'm so grateful for all of you and for doing this challenge along with me, and those who posted, those who sent me private messages or texted me or called me or whatever and told me what's going on in their world since we started this challenge. It's really been cool to see what's been created, and I wanted to talk to you about that today, about choice, that this is day 5. Keep going if you want to. You don't have to stop now. So everywhere you've decided that this was a 5-day challenge, so today's day 5. So after today, you're done. You destroy and uncreate that. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all 9 shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. There's a lot on that. How much of that do we do in our lives where you have a goal as opposed to a target, and a goal implies an endpoint, so you meet the goal or you almost meet the goal, and then you have to start all over to prove that you can do it even though you already did it? So anywhere you haven't acknowledged everything that you've already created in these 5 days or otherwise, will you destroy and uncreate that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, pock, all 9 shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Maria said a lot of stuff is showing up that are not cash and actually worth a lot. How does it get any better than that? More, please. That. How much have you identified that the only thing that can show up that can be a contribution to you is cash? And not that there's anything wrong with asking for cash, but be willing to receive beyond that. Whether it's a gift, whether it is a tangible here you go gift that you could hold, or whether it is somebody gifting you something, a service, a class, something for your, contribution in their world, or without you necessarily doing anything at all. And be willing to acknowledge when those things show up, even if they don't look like cash. So thank you for that, Anna Maria. So yesterday I got my hair done. I'm choosing things that I was thinking that I would choose just if I have the money. I have to press see more on this, hold on. Guess what I choose, and the money fucking shows up. Yes! Oh my goodness. We are on the same page today on all the things. So yesterday I went and got my hair done, and it should have cost a lot more than it did. I got my hair re-highlighted, base dye, my extensions tightened, and a slight haircut. And my hairstylist is a humanoid of magnitude. She's amazing. And she was like, well, I barely cut your hair. I'm not going to charge you for that. She was like, the highlights, I just touched those up. I'm not going to charge you for highlights. What else? Oh, and then her daughter does my extensions, and her daughter was like, well, you weren't planning on having your extensions taken today. They just needed it. So, I'm not going to charge you. And I was like, are you kidding me? I walked out the door having probably $200 worth of services for $57. Now, I tipped them well on top of that. But it was such a gift. And I was like, wow, how does it get any better than this? Because I had budgeted about $200 for that stuff, for everything I was doing. And that's all money in my pocket. But how much would we be like, well, I didn't make any money today. No, I saved money, but that's money that I can now use for something else that I could set aside in my count of creating the money for this thing this week, right? If I wanted to choose that. And everywhere that shows up, and I have people register for foundation this coming week, and so that's more coming in. It's from 100 different places, right? But it's the choice to have more money, the choice to I'm going to create the money this week, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it takes, and that demand in your world, the choice in your world, is what actually creates the money. So even though we might be looking at what can I sell, where can I make money, what service can I offer, who will show up as clients, all the things that you can take action towards, When you're willing to take the action towards creating money, sometimes it shows up over here, which doesn't make sense logically, so don't try to figure it out. This is how nothing is linear, but it's the choice to have money that is creating the money, not necessarily your action, but your action is showing the universe that you would like to have the money. Does that make sense? So what a lot of us do is we'll say, well, I'm asking for money. Universe, I'm asking. And we sit there and we wait for the money to show up. And the universe is like, yeah, I mean, I hear your ask, and like, I'm willing to give it to you, but it might show up in a lot of different ways. But when you're like, no, this changes now. Universe, I'm asking for the money, and I'm going to make the demand of me to create the money, and I'm going to choose to have the money for the thing I'm asking for, and I'm going to choose to have the life and the joy and the exuberance that I'm asking for. That's when money starts to show up from all these interesting angles. A few people have said to me this week that they had money show up from sort of like the way they were thinking it would, like a client was showing up, or they were getting new clients, or they were having more money coming from classes they were facilitating, or things like that. And a lot of people have had a little bit of that, and a lot more of like unexpected money from random places that they weren't expecting at all. Whew. So everything that brings up or lets down, when you destroy and uncreate it. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pop, all nine shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. And anywhere that you're trying to figure this out in your mind, will you destroy and uncreate that? Whew, right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pop, all nine shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. When you get your mind out of the way, when you stop overthinking, when you stop computing, when you stop like trying to get it right, that's when the money shows up. That's when the ease and the joy and the glory shows up, because you're willing to have your life be what you'd like your life to be. You start living your life for you and not for everybody else. I have this conversation with people a lot about living your life for you and like actually having the life you'd like to have. And what most people say is, well, like, I can kind of do that except for this person, except for my spouse, except for my kids, except for my best friend, except for, and there's always that like one or two people that like, you're like, well, I'll create my life for me, but I'm also creating my life for this other person. Please acknowledge that when you are actually creating your life for you, that the people in your life that you care about, the people in your life that matter to you, you are showing them a different reality with what is possible for them too. This isn't being selfish. This isn't telling them to fuck off. I mean, if they're being assholes, tell them to fuck off. But it is a willingness to say, hey, universe, like, I'm putting me first. I am willing to contribute to consciousness, to the earth, to everything, to the people in my life that I care about, but from a space of what works for me, and not diminishing myself or putting myself second or fifth or 20th in favor of other things and other people, because you always end up at the bottom of your list and not creating your life. And money will show up in your life when you are creating your life for you. Burkett said, I had money show up that I was expecting in a month and a half, and it was also more than I thought it would be. That's so cool. It's so fun. I love hearing everybody's stories of how much money has actually shown up in their life this week. This 5 days, guys. What if you actually lived your life like this? Also, I wanted to sell my ukulele that I got from a friend and think it's ugly, but then I realized she is actually actively present on all the marketplace. You may have to find another way to sell your ukulele, Burkett. That's really funny. That's great. And ask who's looking, energetically, who's looking for a ukulele that might reach out to me and contact me without having to post it publicly. Oh man, that's hilarious. So today, last day of this challenge, I really want you to look at choice. Like, what choices have you not been willing to make that if you would make them would create something very different with money? And it might not be as linear as you think. It might be a little bit linear. There might be something that's like, oh, well, if I would choose to do this, I would make more money. But also look at like, what choice have you not been willing to make because it would be too much, too out there, you'd have to be too present. You'd have to be too much of you that you haven't been willing to be because of fear of judgment, rejection, etc. That if you would be it, would actually blow up all of your money flows. Because when you're being all of you, that's when the money shows up. So anywhere that you are cutting off you, cutting off receiving, trying to show up as what other people project and expect you to be, you're actually cutting off the receiving of the universe. So when you're willing to have all of you and be all of you, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it takes, and no matter who the fuck judges you for it, that's when the money can really start to show up in your life. And that's when you start to have more joy. But you have to have the joy first, right? And so you have the joy of being you, the joy of having so much fucking fun that you don't care what anybody thinks. And then the money's like, oh, cool, you're actually honoring you now. I'd like to come play in your party. And then it expands and expands and expands. So choice. Look today at like what choices have you not been willing to make that if you would choose would change everything in your life, including your money flows. Whew. That's the biggest thing. I'm like, I don't even know if I have 7 action items today. It's really, really looking at choice and being really vulnerable with you and looking at where you have not been willing to be that and have that and make yourself and know for yourself that you are the most valuable product. You already are. It's like wherever you haven't been choosing to know what you know and you've been looking outside of you for answers, and start living the life that is actually fun to create. And when you're not having fun and you're not creating your life, then yeah, money doesn't show up. Or it can only show up the one way you've decided it does. So for this last day, continue to ask for the money that you'd like to have and start to look at the future beyond now. And this isn't like a planning linear future thing. It's like get the energy of what you'd like your life to be 5 years from now, financially and otherwise. Actually, let's just do that right now. So close your eyes if you can. If you're driving or something, don't. And you can do it without your eyes closed. So get the energy of what you'd like your life to be 5 years from now. And it might not be tangible. It might be an energy that you're aware of. How much joy would you like to have? How much ease would you like to have? How much space of being would you like to have? How much peace and play and laughter? Who would you like to have in your life to play with? And they might be people that pop, and it might just be energies of people or general energies that you'd like to have in your world. And get an energy of all of that. Now bring it closer to you now. What if instead of 5 years, it was 4 years? Or 3 years, or 2 years, or 1 year, or 6 months from now, or next week? Would you be willing to make the choices that create the life that you would like to have now? And everything that doesn't allow that, you destroy and uncreate it. All right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all names, shorts, boys, povats, and beyonds. Cool. You can open your eyes if you have them closed. So today, look at what choices you can make that you haven't been willing to make, that if you would make them would change everything. Get really vulnerable with you. What else can you choose? What haven't you been willing to choose? I'm writing it down so I don't forget later. And keep asking for the money. Today's the final push, right? If you want to play it that way, of like, okay, 5 days, you had a thing you were creating for. What else can you ask for today if you haven't already met that number? And acknowledge how much you have already met. Acknowledge all the things that you expected to pay $200 for that ended up being $60. Acknowledge that you technically made $140 there, right? Acknowledge the thing you took back to the store and you got that money back in your pocket. Acknowledge the sandwich somebody bought for you yesterday that saved you $10. Acknowledge all of the money that has shown up in 100 different ways. Acknowledge that you chose to create that, and you can choose to create anything beyond that. And don't stop. Be like, cool. And if I was to continue this energy beyond today towards everything I'd like to have, maybe pick another thing. If there's another, like if that is ease for you, as humanoids, often we need a thing to create for. So if you need to pick another thing, cool. If you need to pick a few things, cool. And keep going. Keep choosing. Keep looking at, like, what else could I do to create money today? Where else can I invite money into my life today? How much fun and joy can I have today that would invite money in from a space of being joy? And have so much fun with this, guys. What if money didn't have to be serious? What if money didn't have to be heavy and intense and contractive? Money isn't that. The humans of this reality have created it as such. That is not your reality. How much fun and joy and ease can you have with money? I think that's all I got for you, kids. Thank you so much for being here with me. I have a foundation starting a week from today in Minnesota. I'm so excited. I'm like about to order manuals this weekend. So if you know you're coming, can you let me know if you know you're coming in person? If you're coming online, I can send you the manual anytime. But if you're coming in person, let me know, because I'd like to, order a manual for you. I have this lake house that it's calling me. It's so, like, there's so much, like, land around it, and it's on a lake, obviously, and it's beautiful, on this beautiful lake, like, with the earth. I think we're gonna do most of the class outside if we can. There's also kind of like a porch-ish area thing that's covered, so if it's too hot. And I get that it's gonna be such a freaking amazing, life-changing class, as every foundation is. So if you've taken foundation before, you know this, that your life changes every time you take a foundation. And if you've never taken a foundation, your life changes every time you take a foundation. It really undoes the foundation from which you've created your life and gives you tools and energies to create your life from in a way that actually works for you, not from the plagiarized reality that you've had since you were born. So if that is light for you, come join us. It's Friday through Monday of next week. Yeah, like, when is this? It's July 29th through August 1st. So come play. I think the link's already in the group, but if it's not, I will also post it below this video so you have it. It's drmelissamahan.com/foundation. That's easy. And come play with us. It's gonna freaking rock. I'm really, really excited. So I'm so grateful for you being here on this challenge with me, and what the fuck else is possible now. Adore you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.